Hi there, friends. Welcome to another episode of the No Small Stories podcast. This episode, Shane and I are thrilled to have BZ Cullins, better known as BZ the Voice. He's got over 20 years of experience in the entertainment industry as a voiceover artist and has also recently done on-camera acting in the last 5 years. He's got a wealth of experience and great stories and information for us. I really loved having this conversation with BZ. He was a great human being just to interact with. So thrilled to have him on, and I do hope you enjoy. Well, welcome everyone to another episode of the No Small Stories podcast. Hello. We've got Shane back co-hosting with me, and today we have BZ Cullins, or BZ the Voice, which I love it. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for having me. It is an honor.
You definitely do have absolutely a voice for radio, as they say.
Uh-huh.
but definitely don't have the face for radio, as they also say. So good for you that you're getting into now some television commercial acting, because get that pretty face and that beautiful voice out there, right?
Bless your wonderful heart. You are too good to me.
That's what I'm here to do. So you do voiceover work. You've been doing voiceover for over 20 years, and you have an impressive resume, again, with, the television, film. You have your own radio show in Las Vegas. Very, very busy man. Can you start off for us with what inspired you to get into acting or performing in the first place?
Well, my thing is I've always known that I wanted to be in entertainment since I was 5. There are performers in my family. Some people say that it's inherent or whatnot. I don't know, but I just knew that I wanted to be in entertainment. My brother and one of my cousins, we used to always pretend that we were like in a band when we were 5, trying to make up our own songs and stuff like that.
Oh, very
And
fun.
then 3 years later, when I was 8 years old, I hit puberty and my voice changed, and hairs started growing in places that I wasn't expecting. And so I'm like, okay, what is going on here? And the craziest thing is, my family has been teasing me about my voice since 3rd grade.
Oh, really? And well, joke's on them. It's how you get your income now. So guess who wins, right?
Yeah. So, crazy enough, an uncle of mine hit me up when I was 15. I was watching like a high C commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and they were doing this old school shooby doo wop type vibe.
Yeah.
And so I was doing the, high C, ba-doom, da-ba-da-doom. And then my uncle goes, "Hey man, you make a great bass voice." And I really didn't pay any mind. And then some years down the line, a buddy of mine who was a singer, he goes, "Hey man, I want you to try this out." And lo and behold, we started a 5-man vocal group from that.
Very cool. I love it. So from there, like, what was your first paid gig that you ever got? Like, what was your first introduction into the career element of this creative interest that you took?
The first paid gig, I would probably say, what was it? It was a
And
while ago. I I,
I was
I
gonna
wound
say,
up studying.
if you've been doing this for as long as you
Yeah,
have, I'm sure it's, not the first thing that comes to mind, but
yeah, it's been a while. I wound up studying opera while I was with that singing group. So
mhm.
got a little bit of a different approach to singing, and my coach got me into a presentation, an onstage musical presentation. I believe that was my first paid gig at UNLV.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, so I played a Spanish ambassador.
Yes, and you do
And
have I saw quite a lot of accents that you do as part of what you offer for voiceover. Spanish is one of them.
correct, I speak conversational Spanish, so it was pretty smooth.
Nice.
So is that the conversational Spanish? Was that something you did? I mean, are those things that you have specifically trained for your voice acting or performance, or are these things that, you've picked up in life?
In life. I wound up taking Spanish in high school. And at the time, I had a Puerto Rican girlfriend. She was riding with me for like 6 years, and I had a Puerto Rican girlfriend, and um, I I blasted through Spanish one. Then when it was the next year, it was time to go to Spanish two. They blasted me to Spanish three. I was too good for Spanish two.
Oh, nice. So it's helpful to, date someone who speaks the language then, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and also it doesn't hurt that the summer between junior and senior year, I worked in the kitchen at Marie Callender's, and all of the brothers were from over the border, and so I spoke Spanish all summer
Oh,
at
very
my
nice.
summer job.
So you were sort of uh divinely placed in the right spot to be able to just pick right up on it and use that skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. I dig it.
Yep.
So what sort of because you do also do some coaching, so you've been doing
Yes.
this for a long time. What sort of do you do any sort of voice exercises or things that you do to kind of keep your voice trained, I guess you might say? Like, is there regular, you know,
Well, as it sits right now for me, from time to time, what I will do are the old exercises that I used to do when I was studying opera, which were primarily geared around strengthening the diaphragm, because that's where a lot of singing comes from. And so it also helps that when I'm doing long form narration, like an audiobook,
mhm.
I'm not running out of breath like so it definitely helps with that, strengthening the diaphragm and also getting in some cardio work. So, I'll get in either some dance fitness or Beat Saber on the MetaQuest.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, love Beat Saber. It's my favorite.
I'm not familiar with that one, so I'm
Oh, it's yeah.
You must get
Stand on
familiar
your
with that.
arms is the best.
all right. Well, Shane's gonna have to show me then, because
Sure.
that's one that I don't know. I'm not cool and hip enough for all you kids with your crazy games. No, that is really very cool. So, and I was gonna ask you as well with so the coaching is that something you do for people who are, also looking to get into the industry, or like what kind of clients do you take on for the coaching?
Correct. The thing is I've been doing voiceover for over 20 years. And so I have trained with the best. I've been coached by the best. I've been produced by the best. I've worked with the best. So the best is all that I know. So, and with everyone that I've worked with, they've done anything and everything to put me in a position of being a major market voiceover talent. So that is what it is that I do in coaching students. There are individuals who have no performance background and they want to get into animation or something like that. There
Hmm.
are individuals who have an acting background, individuals who have a singing background. If you have a singing and an acting background, that just makes life a little bit easier to train you and coach you. Um, the quarantine, when it kicked in, boy, oh boy, did my coaching and demo production business explode.
Oh, I
Why?
bet.
Hollywood shut down, voiceover didn't.
Right.
The majority of the time we do our work from home 95% of the time. So there were a lot of out of work Hollywood actors, so their agents started submitting them to voiceover projects, but they didn't have the training, they didn't have the tools that they needed. So my inbox as well as my bank account was quite fat.
Very. So it worked out pretty well for you when everybody was stuck at home. Uh,
Indeed, in
It
addition to my own work. So yeah,
it's good to
absolutely.
know that at least there were some silver linings to, that whole quarantine and the pandemic. I think
Oh,
there are a
absolutely.
lot of good things that did come out of it. Do
Yes.
you um I mean, would you say that you've seen a lot of in the realm of good things coming out of a bad situation? Because I love
Mhm.
to try to focus on the good. Um one of the things that sometimes we talk about, Shane and I on the podcast, is the avenues that have sort of opened up even more in terms of like platforms and content creation online, especially with the pandemic. Have you seen, from your perspective in the industry, have you seen a positive shift in that way come out of the pandemic for opportunities for people, or just access in general to things like coaching, or new opportunities for voice work or for getting into acting and performing?
Well, I mean, absolutely, especially because those who were gatekeeping Hollywood, the gates have been busted down. They've been kicked down. They can't, and the gatekeepers have gotten jumped and beat up. They can't keep people out anymore, especially with the onset of YouTube and Vimeo. All you have to do is come up with something that's catchy. There's a ton of people that are out there who have amazing ideas, but they don't get their shot at being seen or being heard.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the onset of YouTube and Vimeo, all you have to do is put out a product out there that a multitude will enjoy, and somebody's going to pick you up. There's a young lady out there named Issa Rae. She put out this little sketch joint on YouTube, and HBO picked her up. Now she's got a series out there called Insecure on HBO forever. And now she's a multimillionaire with her own production company. That's all it really takes. There were
Isn't that
challenges that were issued by casting directors during the quarantine to put together a 1 minute short film, credits, all this, that, and the other. I did exactly that. I put together a Green Lantern short film, 1 minute on a Galaxy S10 Plus.
I mean, but isn't that kind of the amazing thing now, that things can just sort of take off for you all of a sudden because there are so many, opportunities available. And again, something that we talk about and something I say very frequently, that, there's billions of people on this planet. The chances that there's not an audience available to you are pretty slim. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Get yourself out there, put your content out there, whatever it is, and chances are you're going to find somebody who's interested.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm always the negative Nancy sometimes to to like over to Haleigh's positivity. I do really enjoy the age that I'm in the sense of just like, yeah, you can start and do anything and learn anything that you really want to. I mean, just go for it, get into it. There's people to teach you it, people to connect with and whatever. I always, for me, it's overwhelming, the saturation. Like, I obviously didn't like the gatekeepers before. I'm a writer. And so similar gatekeepers when it comes to, okay, getting published, like doing all these things, it's like, I would hate that, right? But at the same time, it's nice that there was a funnel where, as opposed to now, everything explodes. And so it's like, you do have more options to find, but the avenues to get there are, at least for me, it's crazy. So I never know where to go. All right. I never know, or maybe I'm even more discouraged now because when I do put it out, I'm casting it to the world. And if
Right.
somebody in the world, as big as it is, doesn't come back to me, it's just disappointing sometimes, I guess, if that makes sense,
So I have a question for you, Shane. Now, are you with the Writers Guild?
I'm not, no. I primarily write poetry. I've always
Okay.
dabbled more in writing and maybe even script writing someday, but no, I do more poetry at this point. So
Okay. Understood.
That's
Okay.
something I should look into, though, and get into. I do write a fictional podcast also, and I do a lot of like short story writing.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that
Yeah.
then. What's
Yeah.
the sort of benefit, I guess, to being a part of a writers guild?
Well, honestly, I don't know. I was basically about to. I mean, if Shane was a part of the guild, I was about to give him a congratulations because the writers, their strike is over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they've reached an agreement. Originally, my thing is to big up anybody who's in arts and entertainment, no matter how small or how grand they are.
Mhm.
The rumor mill was that the average Hollywood writer made 70K, and it's like, are you kidding me? That's peanuts. They should be making a minimum of double that. A minimum
Mhm.
of double that. 140 minimum, because they're the ones who are putting the stories out there that we have to perform.
Right.
We have to act. The crew, they have to put together the sets and all the resources that we need in order to get those stories told. These people need to make a lot more money than they're making. But as it sits right now we're striking. And oddly enough, I'm blessed enough to still be working in abundance right now. It's crazy. However, the benefit for being in the Writers Guild, I couldn't honestly, I couldn't tell you that. I'm just happy for the fact that they have settled and that they have come to an agreement, and
It
that,
is
that
nice.
their strike is over.
It's nice to know that we are living in a time where creativity is becoming more valued in terms of income and being a serious job. It's to some degree there's still some amount of go get a real job kind of thing. That's a pipe dream or what have you. But then here's
Oh,
like you said, you have work coming in still and you're still
yeah.
able to so it is possible, and it can be lucrative, and it's there
Mhm.
the opportunities. I understand what you're saying, Shane. I know
Yeah.
that it can be a little overwhelming in terms of you got to post on all the different social medias and where do you get your audience from in the best way, sort of thing. I mean, do you have any tips and tricks in that realm that just building a client base or building an audience for yourself?
Um, I'm going to address something that you just said. Those the individuals who are the naysayers, the ones that are talking about go get a real job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for anybody out there who's watching and listening to this, um, as it sits right now, you're listening to three individuals right now who are a part of the arts and entertainment industry. And for those of you who are the naysayers, the who do you think you are, or you'll never be able to, or you need to go get another job. You people are drunk off a haterade and you don't even realize it.
Haterade. Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
great.
So, um, now for me personally, building an audience, building a network, I do things old school. Um, like when it comes to like representation, like agencies, I pick up the phone and call.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, are
Okay.
you accepting submissions for voiceover talent? And they'll either say yes or no. And if they say yes, they give me the information in order to submit. You and I connected in a way that I use quite often through LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the thing is a lot of people don't even understand the power that LinkedIn has.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Um,
been really
It's
kind of amazed at how many people I've been meeting on LinkedIn. So, it is kind of it's interesting to me because I would not have picked that as where I would have expected to meet people.
right.
So it is definitely one of those, I don't know, not necessarily a best kept secret, but maybe not like the first go to thought people have, especially with the prevalence of social media. People think that's the route
It
you have
isn't.
to go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people look at LinkedIn as like being a scrub of the social media uh industry, but it really isn't. It's a gem.
mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of if you know how to properly use it, because the thing about LinkedIn, as opposed to everything else, is LinkedIn is all A with a bunch of L's behind it, business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not social. I wouldn't even classify it as social media. I would classify it as business media.
I agree, but it's been interesting to me to see how beneficial it has been, even just for finding people for the podcast, and that is something that we do also talk about is the creative community, the value of getting yourself into a creative community
Mm-hmm.
of like-minded people who are entrepreneurs or who are getting into this kind of work. So can you speak to that a little bit? I mean, what sort of you've been doing this for over 20 years, and building a creative community virtually was obviously not always available, right?
No.
So what how do you blend the different techniques from old school and now?
Well, I mean, as it sits for me now, you know, the craziest thing is I've been doing voiceover for over 20, but the on camera has been for almost 5. So, building a network with the situation on camera, I actually use the sets that I work on. So, a lot of people are like, "Oh man, did you meet this person, that person?" I'm not worried about meeting that person and that person. I'm worried about meeting that person and that person. In essence, crew members,
Mm-hmm.
the DP, the sound. Let's see, the thing is every time I'm on set, I'm always drawn to the sound operator and the boom mic operators. Why? Because I have these two massively expensive microphones in my studio that I use almost on a daily basis, and we can relate.
Yeah, for sure.
So I make connections with crew members as well as cast members. If I'm on a set with somebody who's an A-lister, I talk to them as if they were every other human being, and we have a chop it up session. I don't treat them like they're high and
Yeah.
special and high and mighty. I will approach them, introduce myself, and say, "Hey, look, it'll be great to work with you." But I don't put them in a position of where I'm going to go and connect with them on social media. I'll go and connect with co-stars like myself or background actors and connect with those individuals
Mhm.
as well as crew members.
There's probably more energy almost behind. I mean, when you get to a certain status, I mean, that's A-listers or whatever else don't have the same maybe passion or drive or
Yeah,
energy, but
yeah,
the up and comers, the people doing it behind the scenes, the ones that are really hungry. I mean, that's like, but even being in opera, which I assume is much like theater, when you put on
yeah,
productions, if not
yeah,
basically the same, just with singing. Um, it is that very like same vibe where it's like, cast party is for everybody. Like this is everybody's production,
right.
from the best boy up to, the leading actor, from lights to sound to anything in the back, just, hitting a certain light. So
Yeah, man. The and that's one of the craziest yet the dopest things about working in theater, because I've done that as well. Is you you're with this ensemble for months,
mhm.
then the production is over, and now there's a hole in your soul because everybody's gone.
Right. Yeah.
And you've gotten used to being in this particular group, and there's a whole lot of love and
Mhm.
a whole lot of camaraderie that's been built over this span of months between every day at rehearsals and then the actual performances. Then the run is over, and it's like, I mean, there are still some people who I've been in contact with, like some kids that I've known since they were 5, and now they're in their 20s.
Mhm.
That's fun though. You get to sort of watch them grow up. And I do love that, building that sort of, it is a temporary family. And I'm sure when it's over, it's sad to say goodbye. But, in the creative community, I do think when you can get on a project like that, and I would love to hear more about your theater acting. And because I did, it was another facet that I do. Like you just do everything, don't you? But I love that. I love the camaraderie like you're talking about. It's it's something special when you can create something in as a unit, right? And being able to share that accomplishment, even if it's sad to say goodbye, it's a wonderful thing that you can be part of projects like that. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
But do tell us more about, so the theater and the opera, which I've never seen a proper opera, but I would love to. I do, who doesn't want to be Pretty Woman, right? Up in the balcony with Richard Gere.
Right. The craziest thing for me is I can perform in a musical or in a theater all day long, but I cannot sit through one.
Oh, really?
I do not know why that is, but I can't. I will literally have a genuine interest in what it is that I'm going to see. There's going to be somebody that I either know or I'm just interested in the story.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I find myself
Like it's not exciting enough if you have to sit there and you don't get to participate. Maybe you're just,
Yeah.
there's
yeah,
not enough adrenaline to being the observer as much as it
yeah,
is in being the performer.
I guess that's what it is. But being on stage is a totally different beast, especially when it comes to opera. When you're singing opera, of course, now we have microphones, but in the days of yore, you'd have to sing in a coliseum, and your voice would have to travel.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because of where my voice lives. I needed to find a way to be able to project it. And that was one of the reasons that I took up opera, in addition to the fact that I'm not a naturally aspirated singer. So I was with a 5-man vocal group. Those cats were naturally aspirated singers. I wasn't. So I was trained and taught to sing. So am I a great singer? No, but I do know how to hold a little bit of a note,
Right.
enough to get away with it.
Well, and all
So,
that.
but my projection
Mhm.
ability because of the opera training is off the chart. It's
Yeah.
not like it was when I was training, but it's still relatively high.
Yeah. And yeah, I can't imagine. I consider myself a pretty soft-spoken person just by my own voice and the way that I, carry myself in other conversations. And so I've been part of a couple theater productions just in college and stuff. And yeah, if you don't train if you don't train your diaphragm, if you don't do those things, yeah, you might be able to get the volume, but then you just sound like you're shouting. It's so hard to get the dynamics and the level, you know, on the same thing. And so that's pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So theater's fun. It's fun to perform in. I am so sorry to my people in theater who are out there. I just can't sit through it. I don't know why. Just can't.
I think that's probably you want to be a part of it. I don't know. I feel the same way when I watch like sports, and I'm not a big sports guy, and I'm not athletic in any way. But when I see like a baseball game or a football game, like, can we go out and play catch, or like, can we
Right.
go like do something, pass the ball around, like just like. But it is hard for me to sit and watch it and not. If I'm either not doing it or being a part of it, then I just
Yeah, no, if it's a sporting event, I'm only there for the snacks. I have
yeah.
to be honest. That's what I'm there for. So for yourself,
Understood.
what sort of preparation do you do then if you are getting ready for like an audition or a performance? Obviously depending on what it is, it might be different, but how do you prepare for things like that? Getting your voice ready.
As it sits now, I've been doing this so long. I mean, I don't really have a preparation regimen. I get the job. I take a beat, read what the job is about, go through a few ideas. I mean, if that would be the only regimen, is go through a few ideas as to how I'm going to approach it, if it's going to be voiceover copy, or if it's going to be a commercial script, or if it's going to be a television script. Now, when I get on camera work, what I do, and this is what's actually helped me book, and it's I think it's specifically only to me. Everybody has their own process. My process is I'll take an on camera script and grab my pencil and chop it up to make it conversationally fluid, just like I would with voiceover copy. Because
Okay.
that's basically what it boils down to, especially for commercial copy for voiceover, is it's the days of yesteryear and Gary Owen and Sunday, 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 and next time on Rowan and Martin's Laughing. That is now anytime you do something like that, it'll if there's any work that comes up like that, it's normally a parody.
Mhm.
Nowadays, especially with commercial, what happens with that is literally what's going on with you and I. Conversational delivery,
Hmm.
the art of reading without sounding like you're reading. So that's how the approach is with commercial copy for voiceover. So usually I'll take a pencil and either put in some punctuation, take out some punctuation, underline a word for emphasis, this, that, and the other. For on camera scripts, I do the exact same thing I do for voiceover copy. Then I act it out, and it's just been working. Now, and that's not to say that that works for everyone, but that's what's worked for me because I'm like, why do y'all want me? Why do y'all keep hiring me? I mean, a major case of imposter syndrome. I ain't nobody but another bald headed black dude. Why do you people keep hiring me?
Even
Dude,
after 20 years, you still have the imposter syndrome?
well, for on camera, yes.
Well, but you know what? If you're still getting work and you're 5 years into it, you're obviously doing something right. So
Yeah.
I I
So
I, I
I
think you can.
it's taken a while,
True.
but I had to wrap my head around the fact. I'm like, okay, dude, are you a baller? No. Are you A-lister? No. But you are a working Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
Accept it. Deal with it.
Yeah. James Earl Jones has got to pass the mantle on to somebody. So,
see, there you go. You can.
Those
You
are
can.
some big shoes to fill, dude.
yeah.
You can do it. I have faith. I
Thank
believe in
you.
you, 100%. So, among all of the mediums that you do work in, even though you are newer to the, on-camera acting, do you have one that you enjoy the most, or that is maybe the most sort of playful for you?
My first love has always been music, but I've sort of kind of actually gotten really immersed into this on-camera thing. It is an absolute blast. When it comes to voiceover, as far as voiceover goes, the most fun of the genres in voiceover is animation. That's a blast. Now, mind
Hmm.
you, my ultimate goal for voiceover is pretty much the top of the mountain, which is movie trailers and TV promos.
Hmm.
Um, but also when it comes to animation, I want to be one of the dudes they call on to be the voice of Optimus Prime. So,
Very nice.
um, and I have a
I
pretty
did. I
solid Optimus Prime.
I was
So,
gonna say I was listening to the demo that you have on your website for it. That was one of the first things I saw and clicked on was Optimus Prime. Sweet. I dig it. I thought it was pretty good. So I'm not sure who out there needs to call you to be Optimus Prime, but may the gods select you.
well, yeah. I made an appearance on Ellen last year, and I did that strategically for the purposes of promoting myself as a voiceover talent. So the thing is this whole entertainment thing is a strategy. So all it takes is one person to see that video, and it's a wrap.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's all
I
takes
love
just one person.
No, but I think that is, that mindset is probably part of what helps you to, continue to have things keep rolling your way. I do think mindset is a lot of any part of what, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're in the creative field or, whatever is your particular chosen path, having that mindset that something's going to come along. It only takes just one right thing to happen, focus on that. And I think things will work out.
Yeah, Haleigh and I joke
Yeah,
that we have to think that we're looking back on ourselves like this is the sixth episode of like 1,000 episodes in the future, and we're just like
Mm-hmm.
looking back and like laughing, and trying to keep that in mind. One question I did have for you too, you know, when you are on the up and up, and you're stable, you've got your thing going on, you know what you're doing, and I feel like one of the first things that you start to do is you want to, either coach or like mentor, other people that do the same thing. And when people come to you either for training or some sort of direction, when we were talking about COVID and the pandemic, I think one thing that not necessarily bothers me, but unsettles me is just like the realities that as a creative or as an artist. So I feel like everybody being locked in and being, out of work or whatever, realized that everybody creates in whatever they do. I feel like everybody creates in their job or in their hobby or in their life. Like everybody creates. And I also believe that I think everybody also entertains in a way. Everybody kind of has those, they're it's just human to do both those things. But then I think the reality came, it's like, okay, people realize that they may need to create or want to create, but then they don't know how to like put that into the world. They don't know which path to follow, I guess, which is the overwhelming fact for me. It's like, you know, what passion do I go with? What is really a strength and what is not? What could be a strength and what's worth spending time on? So when it comes to like that direction, when you maybe give mentorship to others who come to you for whether it's acting or more voice acting or anything like that, music, anything, uh, how do you direct them in the best way? How do you coach them to figure out what they're either good at or what they should do, or how to even make that decision? If that,
How do you direct your energies in the
yeah,
best way for
because Haleigh and I, like, we're always like this too, where it's like I don't know what to go for, like have all these
right,
projects, have all these irons in the fire, and we want to
right.
give attention to all of them. But as a creative, that's always kind of the thing. It's like how much can I do and should I do?
First things first is if you have an idea, act on it immediately. Um, there was once upon a time there was a cartoon on the Cartoon Network called the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they introduced a gentleman by the name of John Stewart. who played the Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute, who is that? Wait a minute. I never saw him before. I'm familiar with Hal Jordan, not John Stewart.
Yep.
They changed, I think after season 3, they changed the John Stewart character's look to this. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, so I kind of sound like the dude. I kind of look like the dude. I'm kind of built like the dude. I think I want to be the dude. And then I wrote a short film. I was never a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I just said I want to be the dude. And then I wrote a short film. Now I have 2 Green Lantern short films based on the Green Lantern John Stewart on YouTube now, and I'm currently writing the third as a trilogy. And because of that, I have several articles in DC Comics News because of that. I had an idea, I acted on it. The thing about it is we don't know how we're going to do anything. We just know the what. But once we proceed with the what, the how to do the hows show themselves.
Mm-hmm.
See, I am absolutely all about that. I really do have that's definitely my vibe and where I'm trying to keep my mindset that it's not about knowing the path, it's about acting on what you're excited about and what your joy is in the moment. I love that, like you said, when you have an idea, act on it
Yeah.
because whatever that idea is, there is I do absolutely believe that when you have this kind of creative calling and you follow it, it's because there is something that's drawing you forward. There is something that's giving you guidance, and you can view it in whatever way you want, higher powers, put it in whatever terminology works best for you out there in the world. But I do believe that mindset and that trust of if I just do the thing that I really enjoy doing in the moment when I have that idea, something will come of it that leads to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
There's a way to make it real other than just
2 things. Dr. King said, take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. That's 1. 2, I'm in Vegas, West Coast. I can drive from Vegas to New York in complete darkness with a set of headlights, seeing the next 200 to 300 feet in front of me.
You don't need to see the whole road. Just know that the road is there.
Yeah.
That's it.
100%. I love it. You're speaking my language really quite a lot right now. I appreciate you, friend, because I am with you 100% on this.
Yeah. That's literally how this whole situation works. And that's how it is for those of us in arts and entertainment. Understand that this thing is not guaranteed. There's nothing guaranteed. Nobody is guaranteed to make it. No one is guaranteed to thrive.
Right.
But if you love it, just go and do it. You don't have to make money on it. If you do something, I truly know that with every fiber of my being, if you do something um, that you love and you have a heart space of service, you will absolutely be richly rewarded for that.
I believe that 100% too. It's again that you don't have to know how, but just know that whatever you feel best doing is probably your best way to be of service. And if that is true, then there's something also built in to the universe, to life, that is meant to support you in doing that because that is your best service. It's sort of like the harmony of nature, I like to think, like we all have things that we're good at because that's the role that you should play, that you naturally have that ability because that's the space that you have to contribute, and so there's definitely something that will support you in your contribution because you're following, again, that heart space, that highest joy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the good book says there's a scripture in the good book that says your talents will make a way for you.
And what else do you need to know?
That does
right?
it.
That's if you just have the faith that is absolutely true and follow it 100%.
Like everyone has some kind of talent, some kind of gift that is a positive contribution to the world. It's just up to them to hone it and properly and positively distribute it.
Mhm.
I think I love that messaging. I'm all behind it. So I appreciate you, friend,
Yeah,
for
of
that.
course
I
you are,
really
Haleigh.
do.
Yeah.
I am. I'm in that positive realm. I just know that if you just keep on keeping the good fight, it'll all go well somehow.
No, I'm
Mhm.
surprised I didn't even take my antidepressant today, and I still feel pretty. Yeah, you're inspiring me.
See? There you
Awesome.
go.
Awesome.
If you can put a little bit of good out into the world, that's all you need.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to quote Will Smith's grandmother. She says that if you lead with love and light, goodness will always follow.
and again, I do believe that is true.
Mhm.
And it's the same. If you're doing what you love and you really enjoy it, you can't help but be leading with love,
So,
right? There you are. So I do want to ask one other thing here. Who
Mhm.
inspires you when you as a performer, when even maybe in your early days, who might have inspired you in your performances, or who still inspires you? Who are your
Oh yeah.
personal favorites?
Well, as for voiceover, I mean, it's been a couple of cats. Don LaFontaine, he's no longer with us. He was the original In a World. He's the
The
gentleman who
original
started
trailer
that.
voice. Okay.
Yeah. So Don LaFontaine, and then there's of course Peter Cullen, who is the I am Optimus Prime. So
Okay.
um
The shoes that
um
you are so very ready to
yep.
fill.
so Don LaFontaine, Peter Cullen, Rodney Salisbury. If you were ever watching any TV commercials and you hear, need a moment, chew it over with Twix.
There we go. I'd love it.
So yeah, those are and Keith David, of course, he was the voice of BMW, the voice of UPS. He's also an on-camera actor. Actually, that dude, his career is the blueprint that I want. I know he played Goliath and Gargoyles. He was the voice of Spawn, and
Oh,
so he's also he's also on camera actor, does television and movies. um Again, his career is the ultimate blueprint for mine. I'm not looking to be balling out of control. I just want to work, take
right.
care of my family, entertain people and be entertained. um Another big, big inspiration too. Sean Connery and James Spader. It's a wrap.
Oh,
Yeah,
I do love James Spader. He's
It's a
got
wrap.
and
such a interesting energy, I think.
Yeah, those cats are elite.
yeah, Finding Forrester is like one of my favorite movies. It's about, I don't know if you've ever
Yeah,
seen it, but it's a writing movie too, and it's like the best.
yeah.
No, yeah, I
Those
know.
cats.
Very cool. Hey, you know what? You're absolutely of the caliber that you belong on the A list,
Yeah,
and we can't wait to see you get there. I'm I will dance and celebrate on your behalf. I
Bless
will.
you.
I feel like we share a Zoom with this guy.
That's
Like,
right.
I mean, it is cool.
When
Like, yeah, so
when
great.
you are Optimus Prime, you'll have to come back, and we'll
Definitely.
have a nice little check-in.
Yep.
100%. It's gonna be great.
Amazing.
And
I
Haleigh
love
could be
it.
Bumblebee, and she'll just talk through the radio.
I could. I
You
could
could.
Yeah,
absolutely do that.
that is awesome. Thank you so much. I am honored. That is the most heartwarming compliment. Bless you.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to have you here. Really, I've enjoyed this so much. I do so appreciate you coming on to the podcast, even like supporting our little adventure here that we have rolling, you know, because again, you never know. You never know what the next step is going to be. So I appreciate that you join us on this little journey.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you so
So
Again,
much. It's been great. It's really nice to meet you. So
Likewise.
Just before we would go, please do plug all your stuff. Let people know where do they come find you. We will share your links below. What do you have coming up? What do you want to plug for yourself?
As it sits right now, I don't have in much of anything. I literally have only a photo shoot, and that's about it coming. However, I have started writing a new series. It's called Wilshire Boulevard. And it's sort of kind of a vibe between Entourage, Ballers, and the raw, in your
Sounds
face
like
of
a good
Married
time.
with Children.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. The
That does
insults will
sound fun.
fly. Everybody's going to catch the smoke. No one is immune.
It sounds like Thanksgiving at my house. I love it.
Right. So, in order to find me, if an individual cannot find me, something is truly, truly wrong. Everything across the board, everything is BZ the Voice. Everything. YouTube,
Everything.
LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Everything is BZ the Voice. If you cannot find me, you have a serious issue and you need to be admitted.
Your Google machine is working. You should be able to find BZ the Voice anywhere. This is true.
Absolutely.
We do so
Everywhere.
appreciate you. And again, looking so very forward to having you back after your blockbuster film comes out. I will be just absolutely thrilled. I will have a party hat. I will have one of those little blowers. It's going to be great.
Awesome sauce. There are a couple of films out there that are in post-production, so be on the lookout. One of them is called Winter, Spring, Summer, or Fall. You'll see me having back and forth with Jenna Ortega.
Very exciting.
Another one is called The Image of You. You'll see me playing a cop alongside with Mira Sorvino. She's in the scene with us.
Very fun.
Those things are coming up, but we got this strike thing happening, so things are kind of slow.
Hey, listen, it's all right. If the writers can move forward, there's got to be a way forward for you guys. I will hold the positivity for you. I believe that it will turn out well.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us. BZ the Voice, BZ Cullins. It has been great. Thank you. Hi again, friends. That was our conversation with BZ Cullins. As he said, known as BZ the Voice, anywhere you might like to find him online. We do have his links below in the description. Thank you so much again, BZ, for joining us. If you'd like to support more of the No Small Stories podcast, you can join our Patreon. That's patreon.com/No Small Stories. And do follow us on Instagram at No Small Stories Podcast. Thanks again for tuning in, friends, and we'll see you next time. Take care.